My question is, what do the following distinguished men and women have in common? John Conyers, United States House of Representatives. Damon Key, Judge, United States Court of Appeals. Florence Ballard, original member of the Supremes. Willie Horton, Detroit Tiger great. Ron Johnson, University of Michigan running back and star. Albert Clee, prominent advocate for the Civil Rights Movement. Melvin Franklin, member of the Temptations. Ray Parker Jr., songwriter, guitarist, who wrote the theme for the Ghostbuster movie. And Mary Wells, Motown singer whose big hit was My Guy. Now, what do all of these outstanding men and women have in common? They all went where? Yeah, and the list goes on and on and on. Northwestern, as I have found out, has a rich history of producing outstanding men and women, and I hope that all of you will be added to the list in the near future. In the meantime, today's program focuses on what you should do and what you shouldn't do if stopped by the police, whether that's in the city limits or outside the city of Detroit. And no matter where you are or for whatever reason.
Neglect and delinquency cases. Neglect cases are cases where the parents get in trouble, and so we help represent the children. And delinquency cases are cases where the kids get in trouble, so we represent the kids and try to help them avoid going to jail and not having a really bad record. So in the past couple of years, I've been traveling across the state with Judge Deborah Thomas and Attorney Sandra White, and I was doing workshops on expungements. And expungements is when you're helping people to find out how to clear up their records. And as I was doing that, and I was hearing about what was happening in the news with incidents of police misconduct, I started seeing that, and I was just really saddened. And I said, okay, I've got to do something about that. And so, how many of you here are familiar with Eric Gardner? By raise of hands. Okay. What about Michael Brown? By raise of hands. Okay. Tamir Rice. Okay. Freddie Gray. Yeah, Trayvon Martin too. And then, how many of you are familiar with Sandra Bland? Okay, so I look at all of them as martyrs in this struggle. You had these instances where they've had interactions with the police, and unfortunately, they lost their lives. And for me, I just feel that it's unacceptable. That things have to be changed, and that's part of why we're here today, because we have our distinguished panel that's going to talk to you about how to avoid the unjust killings that have occurred, unjust killings of black men, women, and children.
Okay? Okay? Okay. 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 All right. Y'all get it. Y'all get it. When I was 15 years old, I was driving down Livernois near Tyron. I didn't have a license. And the police pulled me over. The officer came up to the window. I looked up at him. I didn't have a driver's license. I'm scared to death because I'm thinking I'm getting ready to go to jail. So I'm looking at the officer, and this is the way I answered him. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir. Then he said, "You have a nice day," and he turned and walked away. Fast forward 3 months ago, I'm driving down 94. I'm speeding. I got my badge in my pocket, and I got my police ID. The lights come on. I think it was the Taylor Police Department. I pulled my car over to the right, and as the officer walked up to my car, I didn't show him any ID. I just said, "Sir, I apologize for speeding." he said, "You slow down and be careful," and he walked away. What was the common denominator? Respect, or being polite. That was the common denominator. So I'm going to show you all how not to get stopped by the police. I don't want to see any of you in here getting stopped by the police. So I'm going to show you some things and tell you some things that if you follow these things, you will probably not get stopped by who? By the police. So we're going to show you some things. The first thing that I want you all to think about is defense. How am I going to not get stopped by the police? Your friends, especially the ones that might be a little dirty, if they get stopped, they might sail you up the river. So just know who you are getting into the car with, okay? If I get into a car, and I know that's not my buddy's mama's car, and it's a brand new car, and I don't see any keys in the ignition, are you going to get in that car? I'm getting ready to show you why you may not want to get into your car. If you have a crazy friend who does not like the police, you may not want your crazy friend to what? Get into the car. If your friend is a radical, he hates everybody, but I really hate the police, and if we get stopped by the police, I'm going to cuss the police out. I guarantee you, you may not want to let him in your car. Okay? So, they did a study and found out that 1 out of 3 young folks, if they saw the ignition punch, would still get into the car because they want to ride out to the party. Well, let me show you, I'm getting ready to show you what's going to happen. These are 8 teenagers who were arrested in a stolen car. 8 teenagers in Los Angeles who were arrested in a stolen car. Now, let's fast forward 5 or 6 years later, and you are applying for a job, and I am the person who works for Human Resources. I'm going to ask you one question. Have you ever been arrested? I didn't say convicted, because they're probably not going to go to court and be convicted of anything. The driver is, because he's in the stolen car. The other 7, they know that they were arrested. Anytime that you're arrested, it goes into a computer. It just says, on this and this date, you were arrested for whatever. It doesn't say that you were convicted of anything. So now, we're going back to this job interview, and I want to see all of you get jobs. Were you ever arrested? They already know the answer. They know the answer before they ask you the question. Have you ever been arrested? Okay.
First thing I want to say, man, this is an excellent audience. I am really appreciative because I see most of you young people listening, and that really is something special because I take this serious, as the announcer said earlier when she read the bio that I gave her. You know, it is important. This is about saving lives. You young people really do matter. And we as adults have to let you know that. I think sometimes you all don't understand how valuable you are. We love you, and we want to make sure that you're safe. So I take my time out. There's no other place at this moment that I'd rather be than to be right here with you. Because I want to see you safe. I want to see you grow up and be productive young people. It pains me to see the types of things that happen to young people every single day. And sometimes I deal with young people and they're headed to prison. And there's not a whole lot I can do about it. So when you talk about being safe, when you talk about making good choices, that begins in your head. And you have to leave home saying, you know what, I'm coming home after school today. I'm coming home after the party. I'm coming home after work today. And so that means that you have to make the type of decisions that bring you back home safely. And unfortunately, a lot of young people don't make good decisions. I tell young people all the time, man, the biggest gang in town, and you know, sometimes we get titles and we don't understand, you know, the title. But we hear folks talk about gangs and groups of people. Sometimes any group of people walking together, 5 young black men walking together, that's a gang. Well, sometimes I say, 10 police officers together, that could be a gang too. And I say it from this perspective that if in fact you find yourself having a problem with an officer on the street and you feel that you're going to deal with it on the street, chances are you're going to lose. Because they have the ability to get on that cell phone, call some other officers, and they're going to come and take care of that situation. And if take care of that situation means that they're going to have to do whatever they do, wrestle you down, punch you, or whatever, in order to get you under control so that they can arrest you, that's going to happen.
Juvenile court referee, I see kids all the time, and I can just tell you a number of things. I don't know if you guys are having encounters with officers in your cars or just walking down the street, but I'll tell kids, if you 5 deep in a car, you're likely to get stopped. And a lot of times, you need to know what's in the car, if it's your car or if it's a friend's car. If your friend pulls up and you know your friend ain't got a ride, and you get in the car with your friend, you might get stopped. And if you get stopped, just because you're not the driver and you know that something's kind of funny with the car, you're likely to get charged too with stolen car. So you guys really need to make good decisions and think about all of this stuff before you get into a car, or if you're approached by a police officer, they say something you don't like, and you want to try to handle it yourself. Like Mr. Pope said, let the adults handle it. Say yes sir, no sir, deal with it in the most respectful manner, so that if you feel there's some problems, go home to your mom can deal with it, can go to the police station, make a complaint, or if you get charged, it can be dealt with in the courtroom. But it's like when young people, or anyone, not even just young people, but when we try to deal with it ourselves, we kind of mess it up. And when we mess it up, it just gets worse. And we end up going to court, you gotta hire a lawyer, and it gets really expensive. So it's just best to just be as cooperative as you possibly can, and if you feel like you're being wrong, you can deal with it at another time. That's all.